my man. You're not my man. You're a genius.
And we are live. What's going on, people? Another consistent iteration of the Who's Man series of the NotYaManz podcast. This one's dope. Today we are in Canada. We're out there. So we've just been moving around, man. We've been all over the place. We had Florida, we had Cali, now we're in Canada. So we're out here, man. I'm John D. Contradiction, and co-hosting with me as always, we got RecklessDWR. And for everybody watching and checking in, producer, please introduce yourself.
Yo, what's good, gang? Thanks for having me on your fabulous brand right here. I really appreciate your content. My name is Beatahoe, and I used to think I was a music producer, but I think I'm more like a beat maker. Actually, I had I had a realization recently, and I think I'm more like, I just enjoy like somebody who likes to make shoes. I just happen to like to make songs. That's pretty much my major focus. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
So to question that, what's the difference to you? What's the difference between a producer and a beat maker?
I could be wrong because I assume a lot, and there's a lot of knowledge in the music game that
it's more for you. What do you think, rather than, we don't need the full definition. I want to know what it feels like to you, because everybody feels different about certain things,
I think when I realized that I wasn't investing mad money, when I wasn't like sending checks, I wasn't like booking studios, I wasn't paying a guy $5,000 for a cover. When all these things that a music producer should be doing. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't doing that. All I really was doing was trying to make songs. So you gotta wear the hat that you want to wear. You can't pretend to be something when you're not. It's like, I used to think that was being a music producer was just making the songs, but it's a lot more, because when you're producing people, there's like a whole bunch of hats you're wearing, And I don't want to wear a whole bunch of hats, I don't feel comfortable at all with that, I want to just make music. I want to make songs with art. And that's my role, that's my input, and that's where it dies after that, because all the rest, it doesn't concern me at all, because I'm just trying to make dope songs. I want to make memorable music. That's for the moment. Shit can change, because life changes all the time. For the moment, that's really what I'm comfortable doing,
Okay. Hey, I'm not mad at that at all, man. I mean, for me, that's just always a great start. You got to love what you do. You got to love, there's multiple aspects to the game, right? And in order to be involved in it, you got to love it. You got to love it to some extent. And I think loving something as much as just beat making it's necessary. I feel like you don't want to label yourself a producer. You want, you say you're a beat maker, but I feel like it's hard to be a producer if you're not a beat maker first. You know what I'm saying?
True.
And like, you have to have that love somewhere. Cause I do also agree that like a producer does have multiple hats when it comes to certain things. And it's just like, the difference between like, I'm a rapper versus I'm an artist. You know what I'm saying? You got to be a rapper first, or you got to be a singer first before you can claim artist, before you start going that length. So
there you go. You're right. I think you're right. Yeah,
I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it is, it's another thing too with the game. A lot of people don't realize it's going to cost you money some way, shape, or form. You know what I'm saying? It's going to cost you something. And it's just a matter of how much you put back. And that's where you level up. And, especially just, it's a money driven game now. So it's like, you got to shell out in order to get some sort of return, which is tough, but that's what the game's become. I wasn't always like this.
Yeah. And I feel like you're right. If you want to be serious, you're going to have to invest money, but it's like, sometimes we underestimate time, because when you invest a lot of time and energy, is it equivalent to money? I don't know. Maybe in the next lifetime, I'm going to realize these questions. But I'm just saying, for the moment, I invest a lot of my own personal energy and time, which might be worth money to to myself or somebody else. You know what I'm saying? But it's like that's where you're right though. It's like it's a bunch of things. It's not just one thing. Life's not simple like that. It's a bunch of things, a bunch of energy portals that you got to combine.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's there's always people who've done stuff without having to shell out money and other things like that. It's your approach, it's your approach. It's the mentality of how people approach things. Like, I've been doing music for a fucking long time, since I was a teenager. You know what I'm saying? And I've done different types of music, and I've made money. I've lost money. I've done. I've shelled out a lot. I've gotten a lot. There's like a lot of things that go back and forth. There's moments where I'm lazy. There's moments where I put in a run, and it's just a matter of like what you want out of it, And it's like to find that comfortable pocket is, I mean, it does come with getting older and stuff like that, but it's something that the younger cats, they either learn the hard way or, you know what I'm saying? You either learn the hard way, which is usually fast, or you learn, you know, you learn to adapt and you learn how to live with it, you know, but.
Yeah, even if you invest a lot of money and you say, like, you know, you lose it, you kind of also learn lessons from that money, you know what I'm saying? So it's never like a terrible experience per se. You do gain something from it. So as long as you keep
We've
getting
all been scammed.
Yeah, everyone. I've been scammed plenty of times.
I've been scammed. We've all been scammed at least once.
Yeah. But then we learn. We let people know, hey, don't fuck with this person because this person's going to scam the fuck out of you later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. I guess I'm lucky because I was always like, so like psychologically like against somebody scamming me in the music business that I never really sent out big checks, you know, to get people to rap on my beats. And if I would have sent checks, I'd probably be at another level right now, which would be a positive thing, right? But at least I didn't get scammed because But I mean, I've gotten scammed in other areas of my life, so I know what it feels like, and it's just murder. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, but it's a learning lesson, right? It makes you, you know, who you are as far as just now and in the game or wherever, you know, you want to be. It's definitely something worth learning. I mean, that's one of the reasons I started this. You know, I started NotYaManz was because of, you know, how tough it is on young artists to find people who aren't trying to fucking bleed them dry or. And a lot of the times it was older artists who were trying to bleed younger artists. Like, oh, yo, for $1,000, I'll take you on tour, see the world and all this shit. And you go on a tour and you're watching them collect bands in front of your face. And you're just out here, you know, struggling, like sleeping in a car probably. And you didn't get prepared. You didn't bring enough merch. And it's just like shit like that is one of the reasons I started this, where it's like you need that honesty in your corner. You need people to. You need mentors. You need people to kind of guide you and help you shape the way. And it's hard when you're a young, you know, hot shot, you know, you're like, fuck it, I know what I'm doing. I'm trying to learn. I'm, you know, going my own path. So it's a tough time. But so as far as talk to me about this beat making, you know what I'm saying? So what's your process? Like what's beat making to you? Do you crate dig? Do you like to create? You play an instrument? Like break that down.
Yo, I got into beat making maybe like 10 years ago. I was producing a documentary when I was fresh out of university, and we needed music for the background music. And we didn't have any funds to pay somebody. So I was like, you know what? I have Pro Tools. I have these things. I'm going to make the score. That's how I got introduced to it. But the beats were whack, but they were still dope enough to be background music for a documentary, you know? And after that, when I finished university, my father bought me a sampler. So that's how I got into the beats. My hand was forced. I never really wanted to do it. My father bought me a sampler, and I looked at it, and then, you know, because I started scratching, right? I was a major scratching dude with turntables and stuff, and then the energy got, you know, intertwined into music production. So my process is really simple, man. Like, I always I'm all analog, so I'm like too stupid to be on Reason and stuff like that, you know. Computers make me anxious, and they make me kind of a berserk a bit, you know. If I spend a day working on Pro Tools, like I'll be a bit more aggressive with my wife. I'll be less patient. Computers really are the worst thing for me. So I try to, when you have analog, when you have a sampler, it's like you have that tiny little green screen instead of the big, you know, the big.
Yeah. So much extra shit, so many toys.
So my process is simple. Like I always keep the analog machine with me. So it's always around. And when I have an energy, possession, spark, whatever you call it, I just turn it on, you know what I'm saying? And then it just pours out. 95% of the time, I'll just close the machine because it's whack, you know? I'll just close it. That's it. The spark came, left, horrible. But every once in a while, I'll do a gem. Like I'll do something, whoa, what was this? What was this, you know? And then I always just say, I just bank it up, you know what I'm saying? So it's like eventually I'm just sitting on a lot of like ideas or loops. Because my process, I don't like, I used to think I knew what beats rappers wanted. And I used to think I had it all figured out, but it's like, it was trash. Every time I thought some guy would love this beat, he would just be like, oh, next one, this one's whack. You know, so it's like, it took me a while to realize that I don't know anything. I can't put myself into a rapper's head and, you know, so what I do now, instead of making, you know, putting 18 hours on one beat, I'll put 18 hours and I'll make 40 loops, and then after that, I'll present the 40 loops to an artist I'm working with, and he'll choose maybe 4 or 5, whatever. And then I'm going to put the energy.
Then you build it, yeah.
Then I'm going to do the layering. I'm going to do the extra, instrumentation. I'm going to get my father to chop it up on it. Put some keys. I'm going to put some keys. I'm going to work on it. And I like working with the artists too. I like the input because artists tell me like, "Nah, that's whack. No, that's good. Keep that. Lose that.
Yeah.
You're on a good. No, you're not doing good. That helps me. Like, it's hard to know what the artists really want. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes they want the loop. Sometimes they're like, "Yo, don't change anything." But I'm like, "Yo, that was just a 3-bar loop. Yeah, that's bullshit. That's whack. That's nothing." It's like, please, that's But sometimes you can layer it too much and it's just whack now.
Yeah.
Then you can put too much energy and it's whack.
Yeah, and then you drowned it out, and you're like, this is overproduced. This is too much.
And a lot of people know overproduction is garbage, man. There's too much going on. People, So you got to you've got a lot of stuff to figure out. And I don't know everything. I'm still ignorant. I'm still in my beginnings in the sense that I work. I have other things I'm doing, so I can't put my whole life on music production. You know what I'm saying? But I love it though still. But it's like that's why I like working with artists because they always put me back on track. They tell me, it helps. Their input helps me a lot.
Yeah. So and that's the thing too, like, because like I've been rapping a long time, and I produce, and I actually love producing. I produce quietly all the time, and it's like the one thing that I've learned with like production with like rappers is that it's a lot of the times unless it's a rapper that actually produces, like rappers who don't produce, they know what they hear, right? So most of the time you're gonna get from them like, yo, I want you to copy this. I want you to create this. Or if you're, a producer that like sends stuff out like that, you can kind of get a grasp on what they like based off of like first choices. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, this is the type of beats they like. And for me, we work together, and it's like, for me, I produce a lot, and I get like very, 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 very like meticulous and picky, and almost annoyed at myself when I'm producing for me. Like I go in, I'm constantly changing, and it's like an exhausting process, but I have to do it when I produce for myself. So because it's so exhausting when I produce for myself, when I work with other producers, I like to challenge myself where I'm just like, just give me what you got, and I'll fucking write to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care what it is. I don't care if you think it's whack. I don't care if you think it's dope. I will rap to it, because that to me shows my pen. You know what I'm saying? That shows I'm able to, I can adapt, and I learned something from that. You know what I'm saying? I learned something. Like, I never see beats where I'm like, yo, I absolutely hate this. Like, nah, bro, I'm going to figure it out because someone else hears something on it that I don't.
That's crazy, bro, because you took the time to explain this to me, but because my head is all full with, I have kids, I have my wife, work. Yeah. You took the time to tell me this, and first spoke, and it's like my head was so full that I thought I understood what you said, but now it makes perfect sense now. I'm sorry, bro, for bugging the shit out of you.
No, it's all good. No, and that wasn't even like, it's just like everybody has like a process, Yeah. That's how I like to approach it, because to me, in my head, it's like, I never want to think, the producer, I don't want the producer to let me sway their production. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it's like, you felt something when you made that. You felt something when you made that loop. You had an idea. And it's like, I want to bring that idea to life the best that I can. Yeah. And then see if you rock with it, type of thing. And that to me has always been fun, because realistically, it keeps my catalog full of variety.
Yes,
so I never have anything that sounds the same. So I'm not.
There you go.
Like a boom.
For me, that's the number one. For me, that's the most important, man. Because why do a meal ticket and do the same garbage all the time? It doesn't make sense. Right. Sorry, I don't make garbage, but I'm talking about myself, But why make the same song? Just for me, make any sense at all? You know, you got to try things and do things.
Yeah, there's no learning from that, and that's another thing. Like, everybody has a different process. Like, hearing your process, I'm like, oh, that's dope. How you do a bunch of small loops. And my process is weird. Like, because me, I'm not analog. I'm really high into the digital. I got an MPCX. I love the software on my computer. I like doing it on both. And even the way I do stuff when I produce, my process is, I want to learn. I'll look up or hear a song or hear something, like a technique that I'm like, that sounds cool. Or these type of drums. I want to learn how to make that.
Me too.
And then based on that day, I'm going to make a beat with these drums. I'm going to learn how to do these drums, and that's my beat for the day. And then the next day, that's what I'm trying to learn how to do this type of thing with the beat. I'm going to make that. I'm going to learn how to do a beat straight just off the bass line. Then I'm going to do that. I'm going to do a beat, build it off of drums. You know what I'm saying? And it's always me trying to learn something new. But like more so for me to, one, I like to just know it. I'm a student of the game. I'm a big fan of, like, I love music. More so for me to know, but also I like to mix it up. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, I feel like that's the fun of it, you know, and especially because there's always new shit. There's always new people innovating sounds and changing things up. So it's like, why would I, you know, who am I to not want to get in on it? Like, you know, there's just because I'm older doesn't mean I can't get in on it. Like, fucking when drill got popular, I was like, let me make a drill beat just to see if I can. And then I realized how easy it was. And I was like, oh, that's why everybody's doing it. But still, it was a fun experience. You know what I'm saying? It was dope.
Yeah, no doubt, man. See, and me, like, I'm the same as you, except that I approach it like as doing a small EP. That's how I do my variety. It's like, okay, I'm going to do an EP with, let's say, John C. You know, okay, I'm going to try different things on this EP. That's the way. Instead of doing it per song, I do it per release. So it's like when I'm working with an artist, I'm like, okay, now I'm going to really focus on hi-hats. You know, like I really don't want them to be boring. And, you know, I'm going to really try to, you know, like
mix it up.
I'm going to focus on, like, now this next project I'm doing, I really want to focus on bass. Like, I never really tried, like, bass is everything, man. I love bass, man. Like,
bass lines are great, man. They can really bring songs to life.
In a
solid bass lines.
Yeah, man. And the bass, man, the 808s, the bass, you know, that shit is crazy. And so that's really what I want to focus on for the next one. You know, it's like, and, just like you, man. You got to try things, man. You can't be like, no doubt.
Yeah, you got to try things, you got to experiment, and you got to love it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to love it. That's why I also super appreciate Crate Diggers, because they're listening to so much fucking outlandish music. And that to me sounds like a fucking adventure. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like to approach music like a Crate Digger, but I'm okay with sampling, but I don't like to sample just because of, you know, it's just a lot. And I'm like, all right, nah, I don't want to do a sample, like, not do it justice. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, you fuck up a sample and I'm hurt by it, you know, but I listen to music. But I have a list. It's crazy. I have a list of like 1 million projects that I've listened to. I'm like, this is sampleable. This song is sampleable. Like, even when one of the most fun that I had, when I went to Brazil a couple years back, like right before the pandemic started, I was in Brazil and I spotted I was in a record store out there, and I was just talking to, you know, one of the dudes there who spoke a little bit English, and he was just telling me some of like his favorite, you know, Brazilian artists and all that. And I made like a little note in my phone, and I listed them all out, and I saved them all on my phone. And the whole flight back, fucking long ass flight, damn near like 12, 13 hour flight, I was just bumping all these Brazilian sounds. And I was like, bro, this shit is sample city. Like, I felt like I discovered a bunch of shit. And I showed a lot of my producer homies and shit, and they're like, yo, this is dope. And I'm like, man, I wish I was just that good at, you know, sampling, because I could have built a whole producer's persona off of just all the crazy sounds that dude blessed me with. But it's like shit like that. It's an adventure, bro. Shit is fun.
What do you think about that whole drumless? Are you gonna make drumless beats?
Drumless? I like so I actually I dabbled in it for a while. So back in maybe 4 years ago, Pete Rock dropped a project with Smoke DZA, and it was called Don't Smoke Rock. And he had a track on there called Hold the Drums. And this is before everybody was like doing it. And the track was powerful. And I was like, man, and it really like brought to life a track without drums. And like, for me, it was like, man, that's sacrilege. But it's like, Pete Rock did it. You know, Pete Rock can do that. He's a god, you know, he's a god producer. So hearing that, I was like, man, this is dope. And I got really into it, because I feel like in order to pull that off, yeah, you can have a dope sample, a dope loop, but the rapper has to fucking come correct. The rapper has to keep fucking 90% of my attention on the track now, because the drums aren't beating the heart, you know, behind it. It's gotta, you know, he's gotta have a crazy pocket. And Smoke DZA, he can fucking rap. So for me, I like the drumless tracks, but I think the MC, it's on everything else to really replace that life that drums do give to tracks.
And would you like make entire projects with the artists, and you would just make it like drumless beats? Would you be interested in doing that? Because I know I wouldn't. You know,
I've heard a few. I don't think I'd do a whole project, maybe 3 songs max. But I feel like after one song, there's got to be a point where it's like this might be a gimmick, you know?
Yeah.
And then it feels forced, you know? But
yeah, I need drums in my music. You know, drums is very important for me.
drums are important, bro.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I think I like drumless music because I like the vibe. Like, it took me a while to catch on, but it's a vibe, you know. And you know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
When you rock Marciano, how can you not like that? That's like heaven. That's heaven. But it's like I'm like the way my brain is programmed is like I'm always listening to the beat. I don't even listen to rappers, you know, like because I don't listen to bars, you know. I listen to energy, and the energy is always the beat. So it's like when I hear a drumless beat, I'm like, eh. But it's so dope though when you hear rock do it, or when you hear like an OG do it.
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's like so dope. So it's like
because they understand like what it's supposed to, you know, because you got to fill in. Realistically, you got to make a drumless track. You got to fill in space, and it can't be it can't be fully repetitive unless the sample is that fucking good. And that's another thing where a bass line will bring it home.
Yes,
the bass line has to be cold.
And there's like a lot of drumless producers, and there's some that are really ill, you know, and then there's some I feel that are so whack. They're just like doing this, you know, 3-bar loop, you know, and
yeah, it's lazy.
Yeah, it's lazy. I feel, but the ones that are dope though, crazy. It's what's his name? There's a guy from New York. He used to be Mos Def's DJ. Mos Def DJ. Anyway. Like the craziest drumless with drum lines, with like miniature percussions, like crazy stuff, like all like chopped up, so like not lazy at all. You know what I'm saying?
And that's what comes with it. I mean, if you want something to be dope and unconventional, you got to really understand what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? You got to really dive into the intricacies of it, or else, you know, people who love it are gonna hear it. They're gonna spot, you know, they're gonna spot that. It's like you could probably spot when a producer did some lazy shit. I can spot when a rapper's doing some lazy shit. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, you know, you may have these people fooled, but you're not fooling me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's
but
like,
then again,
you're fooling me.
The lazy drumless beat is like, it's still dope because the sample's so dope. You know what I'm saying?
If the sample's super dope, they can get away with it.
Yeah. And samples usually are like crazy samples that you can actually loop up for 3 minutes and you still be like, because the sample's so dope.
There's very few producers who sample that good though. Like one of my favorite producers, if not my favorite producer all time, L'Orange. His sample game is fucking unbelievable, and it's like
he worked with Cool Keith. Yeah, I think he worked with Cool Keith, right?
I think back, yeah, but he does a lot of stuff. He does like a duo project every year with this dude Solemn Brigham. They call themselves Marlowe. But this dude's sample game is fucking crazy. He samples a lot of like old 50
school jazz. Yeah, I know.
And like old jazz, and his samples, like, they can carry a whole fucking song. Like, he'll put out beat tapes, and I've never heard a bad beat tape from him. Like, every song is fucking electric. It's like, with raps or without raps, his production holds, like, there's no way you're ranking that song under like a fucking 8 because of how good it is, just off the production alone. And
nice, huh?
You know, and that type of shit to me is incredible. Like, he found his bag, and he, as far as I'm concerned, he probably can do it all, but he doesn't need to, you know, because it's just that good.
Yo, that dude is crazy dope, but it's not thing I listen to in the whip, you know. But I know who you're talking about, and I can see that his production skills are above the hook. You know, I know who you're talking about. I know he did an album with the Cool Keith maybe like 10 years ago, 5 years ago.
A long time ago, yeah.
Yeah, he's real dope, man.
He's super dope. That was always like, I know a lot of rappers when they start, they're always like, oh, I want to get a Primo beat. You know, that's always like the mecca. You know, I want to get a Primo beat. Every rapper wants to be selected by Primo. And me, I always had like, obviously I would want a Primo beat, but for me, it's always been like L'Orange, Static Selecta, then a Primo beat. You know,
nice.
Those are the producers. Like, if I was ever chosen or had the opportunity to get a beat from them, the birth of my son couldn't have been better. You know, like, nothing could be better than that. Like, that is it. You know what I'm saying? So that's like fucking gold to me. But you know. That's how it goes. But so how long you been producing?
Oh man, I was heavy in scratching for maybe like 8 years, maybe 7 years. I was scratching every day, man. I'm like the dude that nobody knows of. I was just in my, I was in a room scratching,
Yeah.
And then,
so like straight up, like, were you ever like, well, I'm not trying to age you or anything, but like around what time were you doing the DJ? Were you like going out and having like block parties and shit? But
no, because my mixing game was horrible, bro. Like, like I remember I'd be putting, Planet Asia or something, and people would be like, "Yo, what the fuck's wrong with you?" I was like, I'm not gonna put Beyonce, but it's like now when I look back, I should have been more of a hustler and be like, "Yo, I'll put, if you give me 500, sure, I'll put Beyonce." When you're younger, you realize these things, because I started to hustle more later in life. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
So when I was scratching, it was when I was in college, university. So I don't know what that is for you guys. It's like the university and before university. That was my scratching years. So I was just scratching. I was like communicating with aliens. Like
you do any like battles or anything like that? You doing some hip hop shit with that, or you just doing it on your own?
Nothing, man, nothing. To be honest with you, like the tables have been cold for 10 years. I haven't scratched in over 10 years now. But
man,
when I was in Montreal, no, I don't think I lost it because I went to Montreal a few years ago and I scratched with like the homies that are like like balling scratches, like people who scratch with the invisible pickles and stuff like that. Like dudes that are like internationally known scratchers. I could hang with them. I'm not as ill as them, but I can go on. I can go and I can do my little thing and be like, give them a pound, and that meant everything to me, because all everything I did was for that little 2 minutes right there, and still those dudes could destroy me on the ones and twos, but still they could see the alien communication, so that's what it's all about, and so I've been making I started making beats maybe 10 years ago, but I was in and out. I always had to like ghost. I always ghosted because I always got caught up. Yeah. Because it's like when I get too obsessed with it, it's like I feel like what I do is whack. When I do get too obsessed, I get too many projects going. I feel like it becomes saturated and then it's just whack. You know what I'm saying? So I gotta ghost. I gotta just rekindle that energy. Because when my energy's low, I can't I can't really make music. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So now I just bought a sampler 2 days ago. So now I'm going to go back in. I've been out for 2 years now. I haven't made. I had previous energies that I had that I got to use. Whatever. But it's like now I just got my samples. So now I'm going to go back. And it's going to take me a month, 2 months to make my first batch. Like new beats in 2 years. Yeah.
Oh, that's dope though. I mean, it's good to and it's nothing's better than getting some new equipment to motivate you a little bit.
Yeah. It's one of RZA's machines, so I'm super.
Nice.
RZA is like my number one inspiration. It's the Roland FB 8000. So I feel so blessed to have. It's like it's $700. It's like it's nothing. It's like
but
it's an old machine. It's 25. It's
power behind it.
Yeah,
power behind it. Yeah, that's how when I first started really getting into beat making. My homie Little Vic, shout out to Little Vic, one of the dopest MCs and beat makers I know. He blessed me with an old the MPC, the 2000, and man, it was humbling. It was like learning that from scratch and getting good on that was fucking tough. It took me like 6 months to get like my first beat out, and I was on it every day.
Yo, that's crazy.
Learning it, and it was old school, and I was like, yo, this is super dope. But it was humbling, and once I really felt like I got good at it, probably like a year and a half, I was like, I'm ready to upgrade. But I was like humbled, you know what I'm saying? I was like, I learned from this, I gained from this, and then I got this MPCX, which is just fucking a joke compared. It's the easiest shit in the world.
Word, yes, yeah, and I had the MPC 5000. That was my first MPC. So
man, good shit.
Yeah, it was like it's crazy because when I look back now, I sold it, but it's like I was using 5% of it, bro. Like I never got too much.
Super fucking powerful, bro.
I was doing loops. Like I figured out how to do loops and how to like do sequences. And I would do all the sequencing in Pro Tools after. That's when I really did the heavy work when it would be in Pro Tools.
I didn't connect mine to a computer once. I was doing
oh my God! So you're doing the full beat? Wow,
I learned everything on there. I like made it my job, bro. I was watching I'd watch like an hour YouTube, and then I'd be on it for like 2-3 hours.
Yo, that's MF Doom shit, man. That's MF Doom.
Yo, it was I know. Super dope, man.
He was doing all the sequencing in the MPC. Like, he was doing the whole song. Like, yo, that's crazy, man. That's mad genius shit, man. Like,
yo, they're powerful, bro.
Yeah, my bandwidth was not big enough for that, because it was too much for me. Like, I just wanted to make ideas, you know. For me, it was like an idea machine. That's really how I saw it, you know.
For me, it was like the dojo, you know. It was like training.
Yeah, I feel you, man. I understand what you're saying.
I had to lock in, and I really wanted to learn it. I always wanted one. I was like, let me learn this before I go and do some easy bullshit, like on some, you know, kids who never played Super Nintendo and just, you know, try to shit on, you know, the classics. I'm like, let me get me a classic system. Let me learn it. Let me be humbled. And then I grew from it. And it's, you know, I appreciate it. Like, I'm super grateful.
Yo, Little Vic, well, he made some beats for Ill Bill, right? That guy's a crazy producer.
Little Vic, he's been doing a lot of stuff. He's been, he just put out like a Sean Price project, like a, you know, posthumous project. He's just everywhere, but he also can fucking rap. He's one of my favorite just humans in the world, but he has never put out a whack song in his life, and he can produce like fucking crazy.
Yeah, because I heard the stuff he made with Nems and Ill Bill, and it was like, whoa, it was like,
he's put out some shit, bro.
Yeah, bro.
And sure enough, the MPC that I had, I ended up giving it to Gore-Tex.
Yo, I know Gore-Tex. Well,
yeah, I ended up giving him the MPC.
That's your friend or what? You know him personally?
Well, he through Vic.
Okay, because nice. Because I made a joint on his last album, and that's how he got me acquainted with Jack Progresso and all those guys. And I started working with those guys, and yeah, I really like Gore, man. Like, he was crazy, man. I remember I sent him a beat, and he's like, "Yo, this is gonna be on my album." I didn't really believe him, you know, because I'm a big Gore-Tex fan, you know, and
yeah.
And sure enough, 4 years later, he's like, "Yo, send me the stems." You know, I had to go look through a garbage bag and see.
That's awesome, though.
Yo, I found the stems. I was like, "How is this possible?" Because I never, you know, those were my first beats, so most of them were whack. You know what I'm saying? And
that's fire.
Yeah. And I found the CD. I found the stems. It was like I had to send them to, like, you know, to some dude in Arizona or whatever. And the song is called "Children of Doom," and it's featuring Red Eye and Lord Unique, which is like Born Unique, which is like a crazy ill MC. Born Unique and Venomous something. I think he's dead now. And it was one of the joints on his last album, and it was on you know, with the crazy cover with the aliens and shit, and like the coffins.
That's dope, man. Yeah, no, that's dope. I mean, I'm not surprised because just to transition into how, you know, when I first heard your stuff, I know you were producing a lot of stuff for what's his name, Ill Temper.
Yes.
And
dope, real dope. Yeah.
Yeah, he can rap his ass off. I know Rec didn't like his project too.
Not really.
I appreciate him because he reminds me of that era of like the Gore-Tex, the, you know, Necro, Ill Bill, you know, that type era. And I like grew up in that era, and I was just a big fan of that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Me too.
Yeah, like you know, and that kind of rap was it was fun, bro. Like, it was just like when there was like, you know, the Immortal Techniques and there was a lot of preachy stuff, or, you know, dudes who were just straight killers like Paz and whatnot. The horror rap was very, it took you out of that. It was more, you know, it was like the metal as opposed to like rock, you know, where there's like a beautiful message and stuff. It was like the metal, like the fucking evil and the, you know what I'm saying? And I fucking loved it, man. It was super dope. So like,
me too. Necro, you know, Ill Bill, Nonfiction, like, yo, that even to this day, that makes it to the whip, you know, like
yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, I mean, it's good shit, and it's like that was just an era that I feel like, you know, a lot of people they slept on, or they just missed it, you know, and it's a shame because there was a lot of dope MCs that came out of that were you know, that were like, just because they were horrorcore, people kind of didn't give them the credit they deserved. But like, some of those dudes were fucking nice, you know.
There was a lot of fire production too from those days. Like, you listen to the beats, you're like, whoa, like, you know, guys like Stoop, or like, you know, there's so many mad, crazy
producers, bro. Like,
that would destroy people today. That you would go to a beat, like, whoa,
cook
okay,
the shit out of them, yeah. And that's just like there's two Long Island dudes who I rock with, who I fuck with heavy, and were dope in that, like, that era too. Sean Strange and
yo, That guy's crazy with the joints, with the beats too.
Super fire, and then Diabolic also super fire. You know,
yeah, he's crazy.
Yeah, super dope, and it's just like shit like that. You know, dudes like that who are just crazy dope, but like people put them in a box. It's just really unfortunate, you know.
Yeah, but they're gonna climb out that box. So, because I don't know Sean Strange, but it's like I see him on YouTube, and he seems like a smart guy, Diabolic too. So it's like. Yeah, they're gonna climb out eventually, you know, and like find ways because it's like they know this too. I'm assuming, you know, they must know that people, you know.
Diabolic had that moment where he didn't capitalize on it as much as he should, where he was beefing with Talib Kweli and
I remember that,
getting him a lot of looks. He should have took advantage of that, but yeah, I mean, he's the truth. I remember watching him in the studio with my boy Status, and it was crazy. Like Status, you know. Producer out here, Stigmata, whipped up a dope beat. My boy Status was cooking up, and then I pull up to the studio, and Diabolic's just walking back and forth outside. And I'm like, what are you doing? And they're like, oh, he went outside for like 10 minutes. And then he came in, and he's like, oh, I'm done. I'm like, he was only outside for 10 minutes? And they were like, yeah. And he spit one of the craziest. I was like, what the fuck? Like, this is nuts. That's crazy. That track was dope. That it was my boy Status, Diabolic, and Mad Child. And that track's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I work with Mad Child too. I laced him with the joint. I laced somebody with the joint, and that dude paid Mad Child to do a hook on it. It was probably the worst beat I ever made, man. Yeah, I remember.
I was on tour with Mad Child and all over Canada, and Mad Child's a very fun guy.
Yeah, he seems. I don't know him personally, but he seems funny. Yeah, and I remember when the guy told me he's like, I got Mad Child. I was like, please tell me it's not that piano beat. I remember telling this dude. He's like, it's the piano beat. I was like, oh my god. I was like, yo. I didn't have the stems for it. It was the beat is fucking whack, man. I was like, how did he even like? And the hook he did is that guy is crazy dope, Mad Child. Like he's crazy.
Mad Child's dope, man.
He's still got it. Yeah, he's still got it. And I was like, how did he come up with that? I was like, how did he come up with that? I was like, you know what? He probably just gave him a few stacks, and he probably took a bit of lean or something, and then But I was like, wow. How did he do it on that fucking whack beat?
Bro, he can do it on, and that's one of the things that I admire with artists. Like, even though he can have a whole Stoop project, you know what I'm saying? He can have it produced like a crazy producer. He doesn't need it. You know what I'm saying? He can rap on anything, and that's just like that old school.
It's a good testament to an artist where they can rap over anything. I mean, even that Ludacris.
I was just about to say the Ludacris.
Yeah, the whack ass beat they made.
Yeah. And he made something dope out of it. And it's like that. I've always looked up to artists that can that just don't give a fuck.
Because that's the artistry too. It's like, that's the artistry. It's like, this guy is so ill that he'll be in the studio in Oakland somewhere on tour, and he's going to bang out a song. You know, somebody's going to give him 5-6 stacks. He'll do it, and it's going to be hot. That's like a testament to his artistry. Yeah. That he's in the mode, he's going to pop it out, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like as a producer, it has to be the same thing. If somebody, I have to be ready to do those things. Except me, I don't put pressure on myself. I don't give a fuck, like I'm not chasing, but I'm saying if I know that if I have the gear around me, I know I can make something in 10 minutes as well. I'm not saying it's going to be a hit, but I know I can get a loop going.
You can get it going.
Get something going, same thing. So I think that's like the testament of artistry, Like you can get something going,
I mean, yeah, it's about like, it's about your love versus your drive versus like your hunger, Like with me, I'm more laid back now. I don't put out as much music as I used to, but please believe if I'm in the studio with someone, I'm trying to outright the fuck out of them. I'm trying to show them that I'm not pulling up Britons. I'm writing a fresh verse in 15 minutes or less, and it's going to be fucking insane. And that's just a testament to how I grew up. That's just my, that's just like, because it's like at that point I'm challenging myself, even though I'm doing a track with you and you're a victim now, but I'm going at myself. Like, man, Rec, you saw when we were in the studio in Canada.
Yeah, Shimo Media, we did that one song right then and there.
And I was like, yo, I'm coming to cook, especially with who we had there. I'm like, oh, we got yeah. So I'm like, I'm gonna fucking try to go crazy. And that track, unfortunately we never got the stems, but that track came out fucking dope.
Yeah,
I think it's a lot to do with confidence too. So if the more confidence you have, the more you'll be able to knock it out, And it's like,
plus John has experience.
Post-production. I like post-production.
For some reason, in that shit.
I rather like post-production because I rather like being alone and then rethinking what I did. So it's like I'm more of an analyzer. So I'm not saying that's better, but that's more my approach, because I'm like, wait a minute, maybe I just found this kick, from a Ludacris beat. Maybe I'll just swap the kick, maybe I'll just use that kick instead of this shit. I'm always trying to figure out how to try to make it better, because I want when people listen.
That's the thing too. Like what a lot of, you can have both, like I'm like that too. Like I'll do something and be like, yo, I'm good. Like we cooked. And then as soon as I get home, I'm like, all right, let me clean it up. Let me do this. Let me do that. Let me do this. Because it's just, always hungry. Like you got to be always hungry for it. And it's like, I feel like a lot of, that's usually my biggest issue with a lot of young and newer artists, is that they don't have that.
No, nothing. It's done. It's finished. Let's go to the next.
There's no killer instinct. There's no wanting to be better. They're not even trying to, sharpen swords. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's like,
they want that good enough shit.
Yeah.
Good enough.
And it's just like, what are you doing here? It's like imagine going to like a AAU pickup game, and they steal it from you. Like, oh, I don't care. I'm just here to have fun. Like, get the fuck off the court.
You gotta be competitive, bro. It's not fun.
Yeah, get off the court. Like, try to win. Be upset that you got the ball. Like, get into it. You know what I'm saying? Like, have some emotion. Like, I'm like that with my kid now too. I love my little man's my little athlete, and I give him, and parents, they crack up because I'm giving him like the most 50-50 speeches ever. I'm like, you got to get hungry. You got in there. But I'm like, either way, I'm fucking proud of you and I love you, but get the fuck in there. Have some fun. I'm like, yeah, have fun, But it's like, man. But he cooks and he loves it. He gets his like little swag on, and he had a killer instinct since he was young. And I mean, he's 7, but he had it since he was like 3. And like other dads are like, how the fuck did you get that? I'm like, I don't know. I'm a little bit, got to be crazy, I guess,
I think it's like mad confusing too, because you look at people like Tupac who recorded like albums in a week,
Yeah.
Mobb Deep, same thing. And it's like classic albums that you can listen to a million times and you'll find no defaults. And then you have people like Madlib with MF Doom, who did a cook up. And then redid the cook up, and then did a classic album, and all these guys are legends. So it's like, how do you know how to interpret that? How do you analyze it?
It's different. Different ways to hone your craft. There's different things that appeal to your energy. Or different ways that you apply your energy.
Yeah, there's no right way.
There's no right way. It's just because and what they all had was they were all students and they all loved it.
Yeah,
that's the one thing you can compare.
And it's not because you put your life into it that it's going to be good. You could put your blood, sweat, and tears, and the song's still going to be whack. It's not. Yeah. It's not like an easy.
Yeah. You gotta. It's like blood, sweat, and tears isn't enough.
No.
You could put blood, sweat, and tears in the kitchen, but if you don't know how to season your food, it's going to be garbage.
Yes, and I think the trick is that you have to know when to get rid of a song. That's a major trick that I think a lot of people are sleeping on. That, you know what? Let's just put this song in the garbage. Even if you put 15 hours on it, it's not working, bro.
Yeah.
Let's just throw it out. Let's work on another one. And I think people,
someone else who can do a better job at it.
Because no one can admit that. No one can admit that they worked on something that's trash.
Yeah, but at the same time, that might be one of my qualities, because I'm open-minded. It's like, if somebody tells me something's whack, I'm going to believe them. I'm not going to be like, yo, but it's like,
yeah.
Or I might keep it for somebody else. But I mean, that's why I like working with people, because it's like you can get that criticism. Like, yo, I worked on this for a week. I don't like it anymore. Let's fucking move on. And it's like, all right, let's find another joint.
Yeah. And that's the beauty in it. Like that honesty. You got to be honest to yourself, and you got to be honest to the people around you. You know what I'm saying? Or else, you can't start things off with like a false or fake foundation. You need that honesty.
Yeah.
And that starts from within too. Like, you got to be honest with yourself. Like I get that 100%. Like, I sit on a lot of music and hoard a lot of music, which is a very unfortunate. But realistically, it'll be like, when I made it, it was hot, and then after a while, it just wasn't. And it's like, if I don't spend the time to make it hot to me again, I'm never putting it out. Unless I got to get it out in that moment.
That I noticed is that people have a hard time erasing something when it's mad dope, but the mix is a little bit off. Like, this
mix is
really,
important.
anyways, never do that, bro. Because it's like, every time you're gonna listen to it, you're gonna be like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Even if it was like a fire idea,
Yeah, mix is super important, especially if you want to bring a thought to life. You know, I'm very, you know, I'm grateful that, you know, my engineer is, you know, someone I grew up with, my best friend, best homie in the whole world. So like I do get a little bit of treatment when it comes to like my mixes and stuff, but it's like I do understand the struggle of not having that, you know, and like it's hard to have someone on board with your sound, you know what I'm saying? Like that's another tough thing. It's like you got to choose, is this person, does he understand my sound, or is he just super professional, you know what I'm saying? And that's
or maybe he doesn't care, he just wants that check too, you know what I'm saying?
He'll just even it out, so where it's just at the line of like you know, radio ready, and then he's done, and it's like it's tough, you know, and it's like that sucks, especially if you're spending bread on that.
I'm really in the process of finding my own personal engineer, and it took me a long time to realize this, and I was very stupid, you know. Man, that's the first thing. But it's like I got lucky because I got a lot of stuff mixed by other people, so I didn't have to have my own personal engineer, so I was lucky. So a lot of projects I had were touched on, some weren't, but I'm just saying, like I need my own personal engineer as well. Everyone needs a relationship, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you need someone that you can literally relate to, because that's the thing with my engineer too. Like he'll be like, bro, this song is whack, just letting you know, but I'm gonna mix the shit out of it. I hear what you're doing on this part, I hear what you're doing here. Let me work on these little parts, but I'm not really feeling the song. And it's like, I'm glad. And, you know, because then I could ask him like, what aren't you feeling about it or whatever. And it's not necessarily like I need to impress him, but he will know to the point where whether it's good or bad, he'll know my sound and what I'm going for, so he'll know what to work on. And that I can appreciate wholeheartedly, because sometimes people could hate your shit and just be like, no, the song's dope, and they just do like a generic mix.
Yeah, and it's like one person's steaming bag of shit could be somebody else's gold chain, you know. It's like somebody can like something that you don't like, and somebody can not like something that you like. It's so subjective art. So you're right, you get a good engineer, at least it's presentable. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they can bring your sound to life, whether they like it or not. That's a gift, because they can hear what you're trying to do, and I get that, you know, and they're gonna maximize on that, and that's a beautiful thing. That's a needed thing in this world. Like people,
for sure,
you don't know what it's like. Like artists don't know what it's like to put out a dope song until they work with a producer that fucking gets it, like an engineer that gets it, you know?
Yeah.
Because that's like, oh man.
Yeah. Speaking of that, like, what's been your favorite person to work with, you know, musically when it comes to producing a beat for somebody, or even collabing on a beat with another producer?
Who would be my favorite person to collab with, as far as like producers, or what?
Oh, who is your favorite that you've collabed with already? You know, either beat wise or artist wise.
Bro, like I'm lucky because like I'm almost at 100 songs deep right now. So it's like I had a chance to work with a few people, you know. So, bro, I've worked with people who are like extremely anal. That'll be like send me like no joke, like 20 references for a song, you know, like. And I've worked with people who are like less anal, like yo, do your thing, you know. So it's like. It's so different. Everybody's different. Everyone has their own process. So, me personally, the ones that I like working with people like John C, because there's no bullshit. There's like it's like this guy's a busy man. I'm a busy man. So there's like no like bullshit. Like it's just like we're good. We're not. But you know, so I like relationships like that too. You know what I'm saying? I like it when there's no bullshit involved. So I love that shit. You know what I'm saying, John C? Like it's all music. It's all music, straight to the point.
Yeah, straight to music. Yeah, we're here to make some good music. Yeah, and it's like it's very clear. It's very, you know, like I'm very straightforward. I know how I know how my time is, my schedules, you know, the way it is. But it's like I will get you my verse and stuff done quick, and then it's like, and then I'm gonna put together the ideas and all that. So it's like he sent me the beats, and I'm just like dope. I sent him a reference. Dope. And then it's like from there, then I'm going to nitpick it. Then I'm going to add whatever little things I want to add. Then I'm going to go through this. And it's just, it should be that simple if you want it to be that simple. You know what I'm saying? Like, it should be.
And, to answer your question, I never really worked with other producers. So I wish I did, to be honest with you. Because
that's a fun experience working with other producers.
I wish I did. You know, I hope that happens to me one day, that I can work with another, you know, because that would be so dope for me to like, you know. But for artists, I don't like the people who don't care. You know, like that you're committed and that you're doing something, but they just don't give a fuck about you. And I can tolerate it to a certain extent, but I know that I'll never work with them again. You know, like that's what I tell myself. So that happened to me a lot. That happened to me like a few times. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, you get a lot of that energy from like a lot of younger cats. A lot of younger cats, very Hollywood cats, do shit like that, and it's just like it takes the energy out of it. It takes the
that's it. And I find that's. But it's like, who says it's supposed to be easy though? You know, so it's like.
It doesn't have to be easy, but there's got to be a certain you got to care. You know what I'm saying? You got to care about the release, and like that's, you know, like that'll ruin a whole mood if someone doesn't care about it. You know what I'm saying?
And to answer your question even more thoroughly, people like John C. It's like when I send him stuff, you know, we just worked on one project together. You know, it's a really small project. We're in the midst of doing it right now, actually, and it's like when he tells me, he's like, "Yo, you know, I don't like it too much, but I'm gonna redo my, you know," that inspires me. The people who do the magic and then rework the magic, who try to like who do their thing, but then they don't end it there. You know, they'll analyze it, they'll sit on it, they'll rethink it. Yo, I was listening to a Mac Homie interview, and he said that he was listening to they were doing like a listening session for his album that was not released yet, and when it was released, the people heard rhymes that would completely change because the people, like, it takes time. The artistry, you have to, like, you know, you have to analyze it. You don't have to analyze it. That's not what I'm saying, but it's like it's more than just like you got to sit on it a bit. You know, you got to find defaults. You got to find frequencies that collide. You got to find bars that don't necessarily work together. You got to, you know, it takes a bit of time and energy after it's done too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But some people lace it one shot and it's perfect. So it's hard for me to analyze that shit, you know, because look at it, be like, I don't know, maybe your favorite rapper is going to be in the studio with you and he'll do it in the 5 minutes. It's going to be the best verse you heard in your whole life. Just like you said, so it's hard. But for me personally, I like people who are like, yo, I like this, but I'm going to make it better. That gives me energy because I'm like, oh shit, he's going to do that. I'm doing that too. So it's like, I feel like we're, you know, I like people who like to work, share the energy, you know?
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for, when I'm working.
Yeah. Because there's always something like, it's always like they you know, back in the day, you know, they call it like studio ears. You know, you get hyped because you just heard it in the studio, but it's like, run it in your car, like run it at home on some good headphones. Just swish around the idea. And like I learned that from like recording at home. Like I'll record something and I'll be like, this is the best shit ever. And then the next morning I'm like, okay, this needs work. You know, and I'm just like, oh boy. You know, so I learned to always like, I'll do the rough to the best of my ability. I'll do the rough the way I think it should sound in my head. And I'll get the rough going. And then I'll give it a day or so. Then I'll listen to it after the rough. And after I even get like confirmation, like, yo, what'd you think of the rough? If they liked it, cool. And it's like, good, because I'm going to make it better now. I'm going to dive into it. I'm going to find, you know, where I can inflect a little more. I should go high or low, where I could breathe to make this sound more fluid, you know, and then I'll work on that. And that's why, and then once I can get that going, then it makes it easier for everything else. It makes it easier for me to add doubles if I want to double, ad libs. Then I get a better idea because even ad libbing is a different part of the game. Like
a whack ad lib is like that's gonna ruin a song.
That's gonna ruin shit, you know. Like if you think about like I think about it a lot. Like when M first came out, his ad lib game was amazing. It like told a story. It was funny, and it was just so beautifully incorporated with his first few releases. And then I remember D12's first album. And I was like, this has some of the best ad libs I've ever heard. And this is multiple guys, you know, and all of their ad libs were shit that I remember that I like would sing along to when it goes. That's a tough thing to do. You know what I'm saying? Like ad libbing is so small, but like what people don't realize, ad libbing is just filling in the littlest bit of space. You know, the littlest bit of space, and if it's mixed right, bro, that ad lib, it's gonna paint a whole different picture.
Yeah, it's like adding the perfect seasoning to a fucking dish that you can sell. It tastes okay, decent, but when you add that spice,
squeeze that lime on it. You squeeze the lime on it, you're like, oh yeah,
elevate this dish.
Yeah, hell yeah.
One thing I saw an interview with Alchemist a few years ago, and he said one of his tricks was to Google in and Google out when he's doing a project. So he'll finish it. And then he'll listen to it like he didn't specify because he's a he's a genius fucking wizard, you know. But from what I assume is that he'll just leave it alone for a month or two, or whatever. I don't know how much time, maybe a week or a month, you'll re-listen to it before he releases it, and then you'll have even more energy. You'll be like, wait a minute, and he might even change stuff, maybe not, but like he said, that's thick. So I'm trying to do that now. Like I applied that to my own stuff, you know, and it's like day and night, man. Because when you do a project, because people like us, like everybody, we're all busy, so we don't have a lot of time. So we I don't want to say we're rushing it, but we're trying to do everything we can to make it work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, when we get that moment, we want to do as much work as we can.
But it's like when you listen to it a month later, you can be like, wait a minute, this is off. You know, this part is, you know. So it's like I feel like that's really important too.
Yeah, that's what. So I used to always hear like good, like dope, you know, studio stories and whatnot. And just to bring them up again, which is funny, you're bringing them up twice. But Pete Rock would apparently like work with an artist, and they would finish laying their stems and all that, and blah blah blah, and then he would take the whole session for himself, and they would hear nothing from him until it dropped, and it could be months later, you know, and he just ghosts with the sessions and the project, and I kind of love that, you know what I'm saying? Because he's like, no, this is my brand, you know, like this is, you know, you're on my production, and you know, he's Pete Rock, so it's like I get it. But
yo, did you ever hear about Label S? He's dead now, but he was an ill rapper from New Jersey. I don't know where about. Yeah, I worked with him a few probably ill crazy rapper. Label S.
Jersey's got some fucking spitters.
Yeah.
Redman, the GOAT.
Yo, Redman, that's like Redman is so ill with the beats too, huh? With his production, he's crazy with the production.
He's
man.
Just dope all around. I mean, that's the thing too. A lot of everyone's favorite fucking artists or dope producers. I remember when people were like going crazy over finding out Mac Miller was a dope. I'm like, bro, Mac Miller's he was a fucking fire producer. Are you stupid? Like, are you kidding me? Like that fucking the Fisherman shit. Like he was the truth, and it's like.
Yeah, a lot of people should have known because he put out videos of him producing with Vince Staples and shit.
Yeah,
like people don't know.
He did that whole EP with Vince. He produced that whole project, and it's like, bro, like this dude was no joke. Like,
yeah, he was ill. He was ill, but like for me, if I had to choose, I would go Redman 1,000,000,000%.
Redman was
the loops he used and like the transposed bass lines with like you know like the lower octaves of the bass.
Hell yeah.
You'll just like you'll be head nodding like the whole fucking way, man. Like
but a lot of people don't realize there's a lot more dope rappers who fucking produce too, like and just quietly do it. It's like Kanye wasn't the only one.
I love
Kanye, and I love Kanye, but he wasn't.
I love his production, man. That guy is like, his production for me really inspires me, and that's like I don't really like stuff that's too jittery or whatever, you know. I respect it, but it's like that guy is on a whole other. I don't know what the fuck is going on, but his production.
It's ahead of its time.
He's rebel. That guy. He's a rebel. Rebel producer.
His production is so ahead of it. It's undeniable. You know it's his, and it's like that. That's the goal to make your music like that undeniably yours. And just that, like, forward thinking and like it, you know, he shifts music a lot. Like he did it most of the time. Like most of his drops shift music, and that's fucking insane.
Yo, man,
I
wish I could spend like an hour with this guy in the studio. He must be like annoying in the studio. This guy, he must be screaming.
I probably wouldn't want to be in the studio with him.
I want to now.
I would, because I would learn so much. I would soak for an hour. I'd just be taking notes and shit. You know, I'd be soaking, man.
Hey, remember that footage that dropped of him like barking at Chance the Rapper, and it's that's why Chance hasn't put out anything good since, because he didn't listen. Like you were getting yelled at because you weren't seeing the vision, bro. You fucked up.
Deal with that porn he's while playing in the studio, and then you'll get something good. You know,
facts.
You know what I'm saying? And speaking of producers, we're on the topic. Name your top 5 favorite producers of all time. I know you named a few, but you know what I'm saying. What are your top 5?
Yo, bro, like there's so many ill producers, bro. Like, but I would say top 5 would really be RZA. RZA because he's like a rebel dude, you know. He does everything. He does it all. That was the model for me. It was like do a synth beat, do a backpack beat, do a drumless beat,
do a kung fu movie,
do a break beat, a sample, and that guy doesn't care. Like he does it all for the art, you know. So for me, it was really RZA, Alchemist. I never heard a whack Alchemist beat. Alchemist beats years ago. He made beats 20 years ago that will devour anybody. You know, that guy
on harder equipment, on tougher equipment.
Yes,
made better beats.
And like these guys, so anal. Like I'm sure his beats have like 30, 40 stems, and it's like you like not necessarily the new stuff. He's doing a lot of like, but even his drumless stuff, it's not lazy. It's like he's doing things, you know, like he's just a master magician. So that's two. I would say I love Dr. Dre because it's like he makes such simple stuff so crazy. The drums, it's like you're like
every instrument hits.
Yes, that's it. And it's like, how come I didn't think about doing the, you know? But it's like because of his mix too. Like he's a mixing genius. So say
genius.
You know,
He did a Mastodon album. It's fucking crisp. Yeah, he helped produce, engineer a Mastodon, a fucking metal album, and it's fucking clean.
Word, I didn't know. Yeah,
so he just understands music all around. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, another guy my third would be it would be Sam Bostic and the guys who came up with that Bay Area sound. What was his name, man?
This guy's favorite.
The Mechanics or what?
No, it was before that. It was a long time before. But you're right, though, because the Mechanics, it sounds a bit like that. But I'm talking about the guys that came up with the E40 sound.
Oh, fucking, let's see.
It's big-time producer. I don't know why.
Rick Rock?
No, but that guy's ill. That guy's amazing. But it's even before that. It's Sam Bostic who did the vocal, like, you know, he had like the thing you put in your mouth and you play the keys. It was him and another. A bit after that, it was sorry, man. I have a blank. What's his name? Yo, he made the music for Tupac. He made the first Sibo albums.
Oh wait,
it's like his name is like his government name. No, it's like
Johnny J.
I said Roger Troutman already.
Johnny J.
No, I'm sorry, guys. I have a blank, but it was him and it was the Sam Bostic. And so that's
I'm gonna fucking research the fuck out.
Yeah. I'm gonna give it to John after. I'm gonna send it. So that's my three. So the last two would be I always liked Eli from the Living Legends. I always thought his production was so ill.
Hell yeah.
Like so different and like everything hits. Like it's I like his progressions too. And the last one would be LP from Company Flow, man. Because it's
hell yeah. Hell fucking
I still listen to LP. I still listen to all his solo stuff. I like the progressions. That's why that's what inspired me to make progressions, to add shit and like to
I mean, I like the new shit. I like to like listening to like his old stuff, like to the now stuff. It's dope to see the fucking growth. You know what I'm saying? Like the progression to it. It's
it's crazy. That guy's crazy with the drums, man. With the hits, like the sound effects, like. He'll put hits and stuff like, yo, LP, man. That album is the Cannibal Locks album. That's like, you cannot say that changed lives, man.
Hell yeah. I still run that shit.
Me too. Like I listen to it too much, so it's like it brings me back to those ghetto years when I wasn't doing too well. So I try not to listen to it too much, you know, because it brings me back into that.
Yeah,
you know?
It brings you into that mind state.
Yeah, when you want it to like, you know, this and that, you know. But it's like, yo, that album though is
they hold a place in your heart. They make sure you don't forget. You know?
Locks, man, that's still one of my favorites to this day. That's
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's so many other producers, bro. Like, yo, there's so many ill producers, man. Like, man, we can speak for hours. You know, there's so many ill ones.
Producers don't get enough shine, bro. It's unfortunate. Producers.
DJ Quick is one of my favorites too. DJ Quick.
DJ Quick is the man.
Hell yeah.
Yo, man, like that guy's original. That guy's so original with his drums. Like, yo, man, like,
yeah, and he's another like no one like real hip hoppers know, but he deserves way more credit.
So underappreciated as a legend, fucking rapper.
All around.
But you guys like the old E40 from like the Bay Area, like that.
Who are you talking to? You know what I'm saying?
I fuck with old E40 too. I understand.
E40,
a lot of people don't understand.
Mailman.
The production, Mailman, and the production. That's those two guys. They came up with that sound on keyboards. They had major keyboards, and it's like I'm trying to figure out what keyboards it was.
I have the hard copy around here somewhere.
I want to know which keyboard I'm trying to find because I'm going to buy that.
Was it the Boots from the Coop?
No.
Okay.
It's like a name. It's like a government name. Fuck. What the fuck's his name? I forget, man. I pick up the phone, but I don't want to fuck up.
Look it up, John. You already got a hand from the Mailman. That's one actually my favorite E40 project, even after the In a Major Way.
Beats from the Pound too, incredible production. All the whole No Limit catalog, I love those. Man, that's crazy, man. Those snares, like they always hit real hard, man. Like the kicks, like those guys had the old 808 machines, you know. So the drums were on point, you know.
Oh yeah, the Ice Cream Man albums, fucking ill, fucking so many different projects were fucking dope from that era.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, and so there's like so much. It's like the tricky part is like to duplicate and not to like to try to make alchemist. Even if I wanted to, I can't make an alchemist beat because this guy's a master wizard. But I'm saying that's the tricky part. Not try to duplicate what other people. That's the tricky part because so you can't get too soaked in your influences. You know, I'm trying to come up with my own style, and that's why I'm trying mad different things. You know,
but it's cool to. It's always cool to like. That's the thing with hip hop, though. Like, it's always cool to like, you know, borrow from influence, not like steal or bite, but like to use like certain things, like, you know what I'm saying, like it's certain techniques and certain things, you know, because that's music. Like everybody, it's also engineering. Like everybody shares techniques, and that's why music's where it is now. But and it's good to you can borrow techniques. It's not to be like I'm gonna copy Alchemist's whole style, but it's like, yo, if I like the way Alchemist throws his drums together, I'm gonna work with that until I can develop my own way. You know? And it's like it's a way of showing respect. Obviously,
the one way I see it is that these are gifts that they're giving us. So it's like, hey, if you realize that he's doing like a swing, like a drum loop, or a swing, let's say hi-hat, that's the gift. It's like, hey, he didn't come up with that swing though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was there before him. But
he's doing some jazz shit, you know.
Yeah, but it's like you can pick up the techniques. The techniques are very important. And guys, Madlib is one of my top 5 too. Madlib. Oh yeah. Man, Madlib is the
super slapped on.
Yo, like the stuff he did with the stuff he did with I was listening to J-Lib today. Yo, those beats, man, it's like they knock, man. Like they'll blow somebody's head off, man. Like
1,000%, yeah.
And Madlib will make like a crazy loop beat, and then he'll make a crazy G-funk synth beat. You know, like that guy is the production alien, man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And his brother, Oh No, too, crazy wizard too, man.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Oh No, man. Yeah.
True student. So, Rec, you got any more questions, man? We're hitting that mark.
One question. When it comes to like, you know, producers in the game that are promoted like that, you know what I'm saying, like a DJ Khaled, how do you feel about a person like him that doesn't like, you know, always produce everything, he just put this stamp on it? Like, how do you feel about that kind of stuff that's being pushed compared to like real producers, you know what I mean?
DJ Khaled.
I feel like if you want to make it out there, you gotta have some hustle to you. So I salute that guy, because that guy doesn't even scratch. That guy doesn't even make beats, but he's making $50 million moves now because he's a hustler. You know what I'm saying? No. And I respect that, because I'll tip it off. Yo, if you're selling sand on the beach, I'm gonna give you £1. You know. So it's like, yeah, he's fucking whack, man.
But he used to scratch and stuff, though.
Yo, how did he manage to buy a mansion off? Yo, there's people been making music for 30 years and they don't even have a whip. You know, It's like, so I'm not judging anybody. I'm not burying anybody, but I'm just saying this guy's a hustler. He brought the hustle mentality. So when he trademarks his name in a beat or whatever, it was a good move for him. So you're right. For one Khaled, there's going to be a million other guys doing the same thing. It's fucking garbage, you know. But it's like when I hear him do it, I just salute the hustle. But it's like, I don't like the music though, you know. I'm not fucking with it. But you know what? I don't even know his catalog like that. I'd have to really take the time, because I know he has a team of producers. So those guys must be hot.
He also has ghost producers as well, you know that.
Yeah, and they must be real ill. And that guy is like the connections man. So
he just puts the money. He puts the money in the right places. He puts it in, like, you know, he's reviving untouched samples and like dope samples, and, you know, bringing them back, putting money towards them being radio hits and stuff like that. I mean, he's putting money in the right places, and it's like you can't even be mad at that, because like he's been around a long time, and he's like
a networking monster, you know. He's
always been on point. He knows how to keep those.
Yeah, all his projects are like the all-star game with just celebs, like just top tier artists. So it's like,
he's very credible too. If Khaled calls you tonight, John C., that's a good look. You know what I'm saying?
I'm here.
Oh yeah, my price will go up if he calls me up, you know. But like, how do you feel about, like, you know, would you ever consider being a ghost producer for somebody and, you know, not get the credit, but at least get paid out for it? Like, how do you feel about the whole scene of people who ghost produce, and, you know what I'm saying?
I think me is different because like when I started making beats, like I landed a few joints on albums in Canada, which was not like it wasn't like a huge look, but it was like albums that were in stores, you know what I'm saying? And they would send me a stack, but it took a year to get that stack, you know?
Yeah.
So I had to find other ways to make money, or else I was going to fucking die right there, you know? So it's like, I lost the vision. The money vision was lost then. I work for a living, so I don't make. So it's like, for me, the whole, like, of course, I'm a hustler as well, so I'm trying to make money, but it's like I'm trying to make it elsewhere than in music. So when you ask me that question, it's hard for me to like actually like in my brain to like think that I would actually be making like huge amounts of money with music, because like, I never did it before. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So if somebody would ask me to ghostwrite and they would give me money, that's a crazy question, man. I think that I'm such an evil person that I would probably take the money, man. Yeah. Yeah. Because I know, because I would take the money if the guy would be happy with the joint. If he, it'd have to be like and he'd have to be swinging his head, it wouldn't, because you know what? Fuck that. I would take the money regardless, but I'm not I'm not evil. I'm just saying I'm a money-driven human. So yeah, I like money. I'm not rich, but that's all I'm saying. But I'm motivated by money. Yeah. So makes the world go around. That's a crazy question. But you know what? I don't know if I could do it because, like, I'm so obsessive with beat making that if he's giving me, let's say he's giving me 5 stacks, let's say, but let's say it takes 100 beats until he chooses the right one. Like, how the fuck am I going to come up with that energy, man? Yeah. Hey, that's how the game works. I mean, I've ghostwritten for a couple of artists, and I believe you, man. I know you got that talent. You got that heavy talent.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I like doing shit like that. I like a lot of theme stuff, and I used to come back in the day. I used to do a lot of theme, driven songs, and a lot of artists like that because then they think like, hey, you can put yourself in my shoes and write. And I've done it, based off of like just I've actually worked somewhere where I've got that information, or I've had other, kind of, I guess, homies in the game that have set me up with opportunities, and it's a weird thing.
But you know what?
Like, it's a weird thing
to be like skilled, because I heard your music, right? I know you're very skilled, so it's like that would be like if you can get a meal ticket with that, that'd be an interesting way to get a meal ticket. You know what I'm saying? Because if you like writing, yeah,
John could be the next Quentin Miller.
Yeah.
The worst. People like him, like Sci-Hi and like Jadakiss, like these dudes have made crazy money, just in the game doing that. And it's always been a path I've never been mad at. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like nowadays, if I'd get into the work of it now, I'd be cake because no one's rapping about shit anymore.
Yes. Like the ideas and the themes. So you're right.
I can fucking.
But then, how do you not get hustled? How do you not get hustled though? With if you hear your something you wrote on the radio 3 months later, and the dude's like, "Eat a dick." I wrote that. You didn't. It's like how. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
That's part of the game. That's the gamble.
You need a lawyer. You need to get lawyered up, and it's like,
But see, that's the thing. A lot of like that. A lot of like label, like especially if you do it, because I've done it with someone on a label. There's paperwork for it. That's how a lot of music farms work. You know what I'm saying? Like the people who give like Beyonce their hits and all those main radio songs that you hear, they come from like literal farms, like literal music farms, and it's like you got to sign paperwork. You can't say shit.
Yeah,
he ate that shit up, and then what I'm saying, you can say, "Hey, I wrote that." They'd be like, "Yeah, right." Like, no, for real.
Yeah, you can't say shit. They don't give a fuck, man. Like, trust me, they're the best lawyers. They're all lawyered up with like the best lawyers too.
Oh yeah, and you're not even able to sue them. Like, who are you suing? You're suing a corporation, bro. You're like, you got nothing.
You sign the dotted line. Yeah, that's it.
They're gonna just give you another check and tell you to shut up.
It's crazy because it's like, how much would you ask for like for a ghost? Because it's like, let's say somebody who like you who has, for you it's easy to get the pen going. Let's say, how much would you charge per song? That's crazy. Like like what's your worth? What would be my worth as a I don't even know. I don't know what I'm worth. So say I wouldn't even know what.
That's the thing. You have to have a number. I mean, the reason I've gotten out of the game is because I tried to business my way into it. Like, oh, what if I ask for like a small percentage just in case? They're like, nope, no percentages. Just one flat pay, one and done.
That's it.
Me, I just do it for free sometimes.
Never for free. Good at something, never do it for free. Unless it's for the homies. Unless it's for the homies. You feel me? Yeah. That's why I don't charge none of the homies for verses, but I'll be charging people for verses. Don't get it twisted. I'll be charging motherfuckers. Nah, but yeah. That's how it is though. But you got anything left for him, Rec?
Just one last question. One of it knocks itching to ask. How'd you get your name, bro? You be with me?
Yo, facts. Facts.
Yo, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, okay? You guys seem like stand-up dudes, man. I'm not gonna lie to you guys.
Uh-huh.
About 10 years ago, I was seeing this woman, and she's a crazy girl, you know, crazy broad, you know.
Yeah.
I was in I was living in like an apartment in like a little complex, you know, and she was ring, 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 ring. She was bang, 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 screaming, you know, doing what a crazy person does, and. I was in my little studio, and I had a little studio with my friend who used to play keyboards on my drums when I was starting to make beats. I already had the vision when I started. I knew I couldn't play keys. I already had the vision. I needed somebody to play, you know. So he looked at me and he's like, I looked back at him. He's like, "Yo, Beatahoe," and I was like, "What? What do you mean? I never heard that word before." And it was.
What do you mean you heard that word before? Beatahoe?
Yeah, because it was just the way, the energy, the way it was like, the way he said it. It was like a new formation of a word, you know. And it was like, it was so funny, and it kind of stuck in my head there. And I was working with these guys for a release, my first ever release with these Canadian like underground rappers, and then they're like, "What's your name?" I didn't even have a name. I never really. It was never about the name.
That came to mind.
Yeah, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do the mask up thing, and I'm going to be Beatahoe. I don't want anyone to know my face. Nothing. It's going to be Beatahoe, and it was kind of almost like a joke, you know, because I never really thought that I would go on to do more projects. You know, I thought I was going to be there, and that was it. You know.
Yeah, and if you actually Beatahoe, they can't see your face. They can't see you.
No, I'm good, man. I'm a married man, so
no, none of that.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm all right. But this girl was a crazy broad. I'm sure you guys have met you know, crazy broads back in the day, whatever. You know, she was a special one, you know.
Miss some of them.
She was a special one, but a muse at that, who helped with the name. So, yeah, man, before we close out, man, let everybody know. I mean, I know you're on your hiatus online, but let everybody know where to find your music, what to look up, and, you know, any projects you want to promote and whatnot.
Yo, I have I think with me and John, we're going to have a 4-joint release coming out soon. I figure it's going to be in 2024. I think that's going to be. I'm really looking forward to this one, man, because it's like a really different production. I never really made joints like this before, so I'm just really happy that I met somebody as professional as John C. You know, so I'm really looking forward for this release. I have for the moment right now, it's like I decided not to do any more projects because I have this new machine, so I just want to figure out
some time with it.
Yeah, and I hate pressure. Like, I'm the worst pressure dude. So that's going to be for now. For the next few months, I make all my beats at work. I work on the railroad. So I work at work camps like 57 miles up in the woods, you know, with nothing. We go there helicopter and then we fly out after, you know. So my whole studio is in my cell, my prison cell up there, you know. So that's where I make my music. So that's for the next few months, I'll just be in there, you know, learning this machine, you know. So. And if you guys want to find my music, I just put it all on Bandcamp just so all my music is there. But it's like I don't like promote it or anything. I just put it there. So when I reach, let's say I speak with John C. or anybody, I'll just link him like my Bandcamp so they can see the discography. You know,
the catalog, yeah.
The catalog, yeah. So for me, it's all about the catalog. That's really what it's all about. And it's like I just want to make better music because I made all my shitty releases now. So it's like. Like, I'm not going to go back and do that again, you know? It's like, I don't have the time for that, you know? So it's like, it has to be memorable. That's all I'm saying, man.
Yeah.
Energy. It has to be big energy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
I got to be memorable.
Yeah. No, I agree with that for sure. All right,
Competition is fierce, man. Competition is crazy, man. A lot of memorable music being made right now. Costing millions of dollars.
Fast, and it's going fast. Like you listen to it once and it's gone. You listen.
What's the next shit?
It's crazy. Like
hate it.
It's the middle of the week and I'm dreading Friday because I'm still diving into this Schoolboy Q. I'm trying to enjoy.
Oh,
that shit's hard.
It's so good.
I'm a new fan. I'm a new fan. I didn't even know.
I'm just trying to fucking love it, and it's like I got new music coming out, and I'm like, fuck, you know. And even today, I dropped the Nick Grant review, and I'm like, this project fucking goes off, bro. This project is fire. It's tough out here, bro. It's tough out here reviewing music, man. I can't keep up.
Yeah, but you guys are doing the right thing, man. Cause that's why I'll always submit music to you guys, because at least I'll know the truth, you know. Because you guys are really doing it. So it's like I feel blessed. You know. to get real reviews, because you always get shitty reviews, right? Like,
yeah, you always get paid for stuff that's inauthentic.
Yeah,
It's
you can
fake.
pay a blog and they're going to spray it everywhere and say the same fucking paragraph, blah, blah,
Yeah.
you know, that's bullshit, man. Who gives a fuck about that?
Yeah,
I want to know if it's dope or not. That's all I want to know.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's all
I want to know
that
why it's dope. I want to know why it's whack. I want to know the whys, because that helps me when I do the next project.
Yeah, it's just something to think, keep in your mind. Like, okay, I can fuck with this. I can work with this. I can do this, you know? And it's like, review pages are usually bullshit for the most part. But
you guys, it's crazy though. You guys, it's crazy because it's short and it's concise. So it's easy to look at. It's easy to soak in your reviews, and it's brutally honest. So it's like it's a win-win for everybody. For the person like me who pays, for the loyal person who likes the content, it's a win-win for everybody.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I worked really hard on the format, and I feel like we're always trying to improve it. And I feel like the emojis and the quick paragraph turned into the videos, I feel like it's something that
it is.
It's easy to digest. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes, there you go. It has to be like that.
Yeah, it has to be.
Yeah, you got a 30-second. The human is going to look at it and he's going to move on. So
yeah.
That's the bandwidth.
That's where we are now. That's the society we're in right now, and it's like we're just trying to keep up.
Yeah. Salute to you guys. Thanks a lot for your time, man. I know you guys did.
Man, no doubt, man. Yo, we appreciate you joining us, man. This was super dope, man. We'll catch you, and I'm gonna holler at you too. We gonna talk about our project and Monday. Right. But yo, thanks again for coming to chop it up. Appreciate everybody who jumped in, and we'll catch y'all when we catch y'all. Good night, peoples.
Peace. All right, good night, man. Peace.